Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our show brought to you by Tennova Healthcare. June is Men's Health Month. And Tennova encourages men all across East Tennessee to stop avoiding those checkups like we know you do. Get to the urologist. Look into a PSA test. Approximately 3 million American men have some form of prostate disease. If you're over 50 or African American, your chances of prostate cancer go up. Be smart. A PSA test saved my life. It could do the same for you. Tennova Healthcare. All right. The NCAA came down on Louisville's basketball program this week. The Cardinals and Rick Pitino were outraged. They had self-imposed a one-year tourney ban already, thinking that would take them out, that would clear them a little bit. But instead, they've been put on probation. A lot of victories were stripped. The coach was suspended for 5 ACC games. And unless they win the appeal, their national championship from a couple of years ago, that's coming down too. The banner comes down, didn't happen. Basketball writers and coaches seem to think this was a stiff penalty. Social media seemed to think, Tennessee fans seem to think this was nothing and they got off scot-free because look at what they did to Bruce Pearl. Thoughts before I do a comparison here? Thoughts on what Pitino got compared to what Pearl got?
I thought Pearl got hit too hard. And I'm not comparing it to Pitino. To me, two separate things. I'll just say I thought Pearl got hit too hard, and Pitino's getting hit hard, and more deservedly so, I think.
Well, you see, I think the Louisville program's getting hit harder than Tennessee did, but Pearl got hit harder than Pitino did in terms of coaching.
Correct. And I don't think anybody, and I've read a couple of things where this wasn't heavy enough. I think it's pretty dadgum stiff for what Louisville's getting. And we were talking between segments. If you took a banner down from Tennessee, okay, one of Tennessee's NIT banners, who cares? Take down a couple of Pat Summitt's championship banners and see how people here feel about it. Because as a fan, that's what you got. That's what you're a fan for. Yeah. And now it's gone.
Or all references to the '98 football team.
Yes.
What if you're sitting here and you're still saying, well, they won one in 1951. People think that's not a big deal. That's a pretty big deal to have a national championship stripped from you. Your thoughts on the Pitino penalty, Josh?
I think nationally for Rick Pitino, the biggest punishment is really shame and embarrassment because of the way his image is affected. I think locally, fans will still support him, defend him in the athletic department, and then they'll blame the NCAA for taking the banner down. But nationally, I think Rick Pitino, he says he's lost faith in the NCAA. I think a lot of people have lost faith in Rick Pitino doing things the right way.
This ain't his first rodeo.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
he needs to, look, you got spanked, but take it like a man and go away. Let me do a comparison here for you, though. This is the interesting thing about Pitino and Pearl. And when it comes to Rick Pitino, the NCAA couldn't prove he knew of his assistant's actions. Now, does anybody here really think that the head coach didn't know his assistant was out buying strippers and prostitutes for players?
If he didn't know, that's about as bad as knowing.
Well, and that's why he got the 5-game suspension. They gave him a 5-game ACC suspension for not knowing. But he couldn't prove that he was involved in that. Now, the assistant's doomed. I don't know if we can go back to that, but I need to. The part about Bruce Pearl, they got him for lying directly to NCAA staff. He had his assistants lie to the NCAA face-to-face. And people forget this. He called Aaron Kraft's dad, and the NCAA viewed that as you were trying to influence a witness and get him to lie. Yeah. So they gave him a show cause penalty. If you look at it as a whole and say, oh my gosh, strippers and prostitutes versus a barbecue? But it's not that. It's coach didn't know what was going on. The assistant's going to be excommunicated. But the head coach didn't know what was going on. Bruce Pearl was in on all the stuff at UT. So that's how it's the NCAA, how they look at it, and then there's how everybody else looks at it. Chuck, your thoughts?
It kind of looked like the Jim Boeheim type penalty at Syracuse, too. It just looks like there's no, equal, this is what you did and this is the punishment. And if there's the haves and the have-nots.
But how do you just say, we don't believe you didn't know and we're going to punish you?
We don't believe
you when you said you didn't know.
If you don't know, that might be even worse.
So in other words, he should have gotten more than 5-game suspension for not knowing what was going on.
In the way they do their punishment, yes.
Louisville actually is getting hit a lot harder than Tennessee. I think when you also look at what these teams did, it might have helped and hurt their coach a little bit. Louisville self-imposed a tournament ban. That's the biggest thing you can do in college basketball. They nixed a tournament, so they at least made an effort. That might have worked in Pitino's favor. At Tennessee, if you recall, they didn't do anything on the court. I think it was a cut down on visitors, and we're going to dock Bruce Pearl $1 million, which the NCAA does not care about. It wasn't UT that self-imposed that 8-game suspension. That was Mike Slife trying to help UT hang on to Bruce Pearl, something that gets lost. But I wonder how much Louisville punished itself. Tennessee really didn't. Did they take that out in terms of the coaches? You know, it's like,
No.
well, you did something, so we're going to give Pitino a little bit less. Tennessee didn't do as much, so we're going to hammer Pearl.
Plus, I just think that you had Pearl dead to rights, period. That's the difference.
If they had direct evidence linking Rick Pitino to this, his penalty would be harsher from this. It might be over for him if they had that.
Like a picture of him posing with the strippers.
Okay.
For example.
On our Father's Day show, we'll move from that on to back to some music. Vols recruiting is coming up next but first, Roger Clyne, the Peacemakers, they will be playing at the International down in the Warehouse District tonight. I promise you, these guys are fantastic live. I've seen them. I'll be there tonight. They have an honest-to-God just cult of fans. They follow them all over the place. I know because I'm in the cult. These guys going to give you a taste of something you'll be playing tonight, or is this the new stuff?
This is actually the old stuff. This is Wheel. We were the King of the Hill theme way back in the day.
Super. Roger Clyne, the Peacemakers.
Vamos.